The Trump administration is hosting a summit to spotlight the upcoming launch of its new Trump accounts. Fox News correspondent Aisha Hosni joins us now with more. Hi.
Hey there. Well, you know, this was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and now it's a big part of the president's affordability push. The president is essentially giving out a trust fund to every single American baby born during his presidency.
Every president in modern history has left our children with nothing but debt. But under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom. We'll ensure that Americans don't just end their lives with a nest egg, but instead all Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. There's never been anything quite like this.
So if you have a child that's born during the Trump administration's term until 2028, then the government will drop $1,000 into an investment account for them. Over time, that money grows. Parents and employers can contribute to it. And when the child turns 18, they can unlock these funds and they can use it for college. They can use it to buy a house, or they can even use it to start a business. Even older kids under 10 years old can take part in this because of a huge $6 billion donation from the Dell family. And there's a lot more companies and big names pitching in. IBM just announced today it'll match the $1,000 for its employees. Bank of America has just signed up to match those contributions. Nicki Minaj just announced that she is donating hundreds of thousands of dollars into this venture as well. So the president feels like he's got the right economic policies to make people feel like they can deal with this economy these days. He's just got to now fine-tune the messaging, and that is what today's summit is all about.
Aisha, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And the president's focus on financial freedom couldn't come at a better time because more young adults are admitting they're asking the bank of mom and dad to cover rent, insurance, groceries, and even nights out. So are parents fueling a failure to launch economy by propping up their adult children with thousands of dollars a month? Ooh, Mike Murphy, we're coming to you on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You got to answer.
Guilty. Here's my oldest daughter's at work. The next 5 are at school, so they're not watching. But no, I don't think so at all. And I have a very strong opinion on it that, you know, my kids are being raised differently than I was raised. So maybe financially they have more opportunities than I did, but they're going to have to do something with that. Like they're not being handed a yacht and an island to go live the rest of their lives on. So I hope what I'm instilling in them, more than what I can support them with financially, I hope I'm instilling like hard work, and I'm instilling education and instilling you can accomplish anything you want, the boys and the girls, but you're going to have to work for it. No one's going to give it to you, including me. So, I think that kids today are, if your parents are fortunate, or if you're grandparents, or if you have access to money, that's a great head start. So I think what President Trump is doing, back to that, it's better to have some money than not. But I think, speaking about my own children, they're going to have to work, and I think that goes for most, if not all, people. Some are born with more than others, but it's a long race, life. So, you know, anyone can get ahead without being given, I hope.
Jackie?
Can I push back respectfully?
Sure.
And you're the one with the children, so I'm probably not one to talk, but I do a lot of informal polling and see what's going on in reality. What I see is kids from wealthy families who do work, who do have jobs. I'm not saying that they don't do anything, but they're certainly not knocking it out of the park. And when that happens, mom and dad backstop them on their credit card bills, which includes things like fancy dinners out, vacations, not an island, not a yacht. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but things that they feel they are entitled to because they had them when they lived under mom and dad's roof. So therein lies the problem, because ultimately you've got a generation of kids that I'm seeing who they can't really support themselves in the lifestyle that they want to, but then when they're backstopped by mom and dad, they don't have that inner fire in their belly to go be innovative, to go do something extra, to try to, to have it or to want it. In my personal experience, I had certain privileges growing up, but that all stopped when I graduated college and got a job. So, if I couldn't go on a vacation that year, nobody at home felt sorry for me and wrote me a check so that I could. If I didn't have enough money to go out to dinner, nobody said, don't worry, put it on the credit card and mom and dad will take care of it. It didn't work that way. So that's where the fire came in to say, I do want nice things. I do want all those things. I'm going to work harder to try to get them. And there has to be a balance there.
Brian, I'm wondering if the balance is, and I'm talking a little bit how I was raised. If you work really hard and you're proving to us that you're working, we're also willing to help you. I couldn't buy a flight home for Christmas one year because prices were too expensive. My parents said, you're holding down a job, you're paying rent, we'll help you out, we'll buy your flight ticket. I'm still on my parents' Verizon family plan, but they see that I'm trying to raise a family, so they're helping me on my phone bill. Is that
True
a middle
confessions.
ground? What do you think?
Wait, what? I missed that. You're still on the family.
Let's not talk about it.
No, that's actually, I just want, and I'll cede my time, but among your generation,
Yeah.
your age bracket, that's actually not uncommon for people who are even married. I know other people. It's just a thing. It's just a thing.
Just a thing.
My parents had an 800 number when I was your age, so we could call home. It's the same. It's just a different generation, different concept.
That's interesting.
It's a little Christmas. It's a little Christmas gift that you get every year.
Yes.
You can do gifts, right? So like our parents have bought plane tickets home for us for the holidays so we can come home and visit. And we've always been grateful for that. But did you see these numbers? Did we read these numbers already?
No.
In 2025, parents of children ages 29 to 44 gave their kids on average $863 a month.
That's a lot.
And for kids, for those with kids ages 18 to 28, it's $1,800 a month.
Yeah,
That's not a plane ticket. That's like
a subsidy.
Salary every single month. I don't think that gets you ahead. I think that pulls you behind in life. That seems like a huge mistake to me. There's these, so they cite these stats like, in 1984, 78% of 30-year-olds were married. Today, it's only 48%. And they say, like this article says, this is a MarketWatch article, economic conditions allowed older Americans to get married when they were younger. And I'm like, really? Is it really economic conditions? Like, did my grandparents have such a better economic situation
No.
that they could get married? Or my parents? I would totally challenge that. We're connecting economics and life choices in ways that I think are not actually true, and we're creating an excuse for people not to grow up. That sounds harsh, but I just think that's true.
This also compounds the resentment among people. It exacerbates the economic bifurcation, and we sit here and talk about Mandani, and socialism. Well, some of it comes from this.
Yeah.
Because it was always present in wealthy cities. In New York, when I moved here 30 some odd years ago, there were jobs where all of the trust fund kids went into those jobs, working at auction houses, working in the arts, working for magazines, in media. I couldn't afford to do that. I had to find a job that I could pay my own way, pay my rent. I had to foot all my bills. So that you wonder why there is so much anger and angst among some young people politically. That has to do with it, and particularly in cities, because you can see it. It's like you look at those numbers, it's like who gets to live in a decent apartment and who has to commute 4 hours round trip every day from an apartment that they share with a bunch of other people just to hold down a job. That's part of the issue.
But people always have different cars. Like in high school, you had a nice car, I didn't, or whatever, or bigger house, smaller house. Like that doesn't lead. I don't think you can tie that to socialism. Like if your parents can afford to give you more than mine could, like that doesn't mean one of us
But
is
there's
going
a
to support
difference.
socialism.
Social media today, it is in your face, and it's like, look at what I have, look at what I have, look at what I have, look at what I have.
And what you
I don't
don't
know,
have.
and I don't know why on earth these investment IRAs are going to wealthy people, because there is no income limit on, and so rich families, their kids are getting the same amount of money that middle class people are getting.
And in most cases, the subsidy that Brian is talking about, that doesn't go back to the affordability issue. That is for kids to live lifestyles that they want to live versus putting food on the table.